So one of the next questions you're going to have is, if I create the business, how do I actually legally start a business? To the government, there are a number of different ways that you can create a business. It's been said that here in the United States, at least, and in Canada as well, it's extremely easy to start a business. You just print out business cards and boom, you're in business. And to a certain extent, that's true. What you want to do, though, is to protect your assets. So what our government has given us are these sort of vehicles, per se, that you can get into, which will then separate the business as an entity from you personally. If you're out there and you're mowing grass and you run over somebody's pet cat, you're liable for that cat. Now, chances are it might not be worth very much. It could be, though. And it's certainly a painful experience, but they will come at you and they will say, "You, Fred, why did you run over my cat? You need to pay whatever damages are." What the government has given us is the opportunity to create these things called corporations. And so there's a number of different ones. And that protects you, because what all of these entities will do is they create this entity called, in our case, called Clip Lawn Care, that exists out there. And if Clip Lawn Care as an entity were to do a damage or be sued or something like that, it's not Dave Tucker. It's Clip Lawn Care. And so the assets that Clip Lawn Care has are subject to that lien or that judgment or whatever might come down on it. And those assets would be some trucks and some mowers and some trimmers and things along those lines. So that's why having a corporation helps. So the C Corp is the biggest one, and you probably don't need to start with that. You can always move into a C Corp if you have to. Another one is called an S Corp, and an S Corp is a smaller entity. There's a limit to how many stockholders you can have. It's still quite a few, 100 or so. But the S Corp, what that does is that has a direct flow through, what they call flow through. So if the company makes $10,000, that flows onto your 1040, and it's the government then considers that you made those $10,000, and you are now liable for the taxes on those $10,000. A profit, and that's why a lot of businesses will do what's called minimizing the profit. So they'll do everything they can to make their profit look bad at the end of the year, because you're going to have to pay personal taxes on that money. And then you have LLCs, limited liability corporations, which are similar to the S Corp in that the money flows through, and any profits or loss flows right down to your 1040 form. But they're limited and less. And then you can have a partnership. And then you have sole ownership. And the sole ownership is the riskiest, because that's the one where you're going out and you're mowing the grass and you're breaking the window or killing the cat. So you really should look at these, and you should go down to a CPA, or you could use something like LegalZoom. It really is not very expensive, and it's not that hard. It's a little bit of paperwork to set up your S Corp or your LLC. And once you set that up, you'll get some papers, and it'll say you are official, and you'll have what's called an FEIN, a Federal Employment Identification Number. And that's sort of like a Social Security number, but it's for your entity. So once you have that, you can then do payroll, and you can register your vehicles in the name of that corporation instead of in your name. You can buy the lawnmowers through the corporation instead of you personally buying them, and that sort of thing. So it is a good idea to do that. Whether you have to do that right up front or not depends on how many personal assets you have. If you're in your 40s and you're starting this as your second thing, you already own your house and you own cars and things like that, then set it up before you actually do any work. If you're just a young person coming out of high school and you want to start this up and you have no assets, then you could wait a little while before you did it. But you want to get it done fairly soon. And like I said, it's not very expensive. So decide what you want to be. My recommendation is probably that you would go with an LLC or a partnership or maybe an S corporation. But get that down first and then start doing your work.